The ultimate biological taboo. We all have encountered a stray cat in an alley that we have walked by, or seen a neighborhood dog running around in a park, but I can almost bet that you've never thought of them as a meal. Up to this day, dogs and cats have been our companions and our protectors, our partners for thousands of years in human history. They are not on our plates, but part of us. What if you instead set aside all that human evolution? What if you choose to live by killing and eating a carnivorous companion animal? However, aside from the huge taboo that floats on the surface of society and the clear moral condemning of this nutritional approach, we must focus on the scary biological truth of this diet. You're not only violating society's rules, you are grossly violating the rules of the natural food chain, and you're going to pay a terrible physical price for it. Part 2. The energy pyramid trap. To truly understand why a diet of cats and dogs is a one-way ticket to a medical emergency, you have to look at a fundamental law of nature called the energy pyramid. Human beings and our ancestors have historically survived and thrived by eating herbivores, animals like cows, sheep, and deer that spend their entire lives peacefully eating grass and plants. These herbivores act as a massive, natural biological filter, taking clean, simple plant matter and turning it into safe, easily digestible protein for us to consume. But dogs and cats are obligate and opportunistic carnivores. They sit significantly higher up on the food chain, spending their lives eating other animals, urban rodents, birds, and sometimes literal garbage. When you choose to eat a carnivore, you are completely bypassing that safe biological filter and asking your stomach to process the raw, unfiltered apex of the food web. Part 3. The biomagnification nightmare. When you eat animals that eat other animals, you fall prey to an evil science right away called biomagnification. Feral cats and dogs are forced to hunt urban pests and eat poor quality, scavenged meat, and are continually eating minute quantities of hard environmental chemicals. All of the cat's muscle tissue contains all of those bad chemicals, or all of those drops of rat poison, or all of those single packets of all of the poisons that were in the rat that the cat ate. That concentrated and stored poisons are being passed directly into your body when you eat that animal. For every bite you take, you are literally ingesting a concentrated biological filter of urban pollution, in essence adding toxins to your bloodstream. Part 4. The heavy metal overload. Those toxins, magnified by the unnatural diet, start to really wreck the internal organs. Your liver and your kidneys are the hard-working filter plants of your body, which have one job: to filter out the impurities of everyday life in your bloodstream. However, not all of them are suited for the concentrated and significant amounts of heavy metals such as lead, mercury, and cadmium that accumulate in the bodies of carnivores that live in cities. In a few weeks, your kidneys will try their best to filter out this sludge, and you will be at the end of your tethers. You will become very lazy, skin will turn a sickly yellow jaundiced, and the liver will become inflamed and dangerously enlarged, trying to survive the battle with the heavy metals. Part 5. The parasitic playground. Toxins is just the first wave of the hellishness, though, as now we have to discuss the meat-eating things that have been living within the meat. Yes, herbivores get parasites, carnivores and scavengers do too, but carnivores and scavengers are a playground for some of the most vicious and terrible parasites on this planet. Dogs and cats will consume raw meat or prey in which the microscopic cysts of a parasite, Trichinella, are present, and therefore the meat can be infested with the cysts in the muscle tissue. Those little worms will hatch inside your stomach acid if you don't cook the meat to an absolute burnt crisp. They will physically perforate your intestinal walls, penetrate your bloodstream, and enter your own muscle tissue, which will then produce intense, all-over muscle pain, like your flesh is on fire. Part 6. The toxoplasmosis hijack. Eating cats exposes you to a brain-altering parasite that is extremely sneaky, Toxoplasma gondii. This microscopic terror is initially found in cats. In healthy human beings, it typically only causes flu-like illnesses, but if you ingest repeated amounts of feline tissues contaminated with the virus, you're taking a very large and powerful viral dose into your system. This parasite is well known in the medical community due to its ability to physically breach the blood-brain barrier and alter the neurochemistry of its hosts. If the infection occurs in high, concentrated doses from a pure feline diet, the result is extreme toxoplasmosis, which can lead to severe neurological symptoms, brutal convulsions, blurring vision, and frightening behavior changes, as the parasite essentially sets up a permanent camp in your brain tissue. Part 7. The bacterial onslaught. The bacterial onslaught. After all the parasites, you've got to take on the onslaught of bacteria of just butchering and preparing the meat. Pastorella is an extremely virulent bacteria that's present in the mouths and claws of dogs and cats. Even a small scratch on your hand while you're preparing your unnatural meal will allow that bacteria into your bloodstream and set in for a good time. In addition, the digestive system of carnivores are loaded with extremely hard and aggressive bacteria, which are able to eat raw bone and decaying flesh. Those aggressive bacteria from Salmonella and Campylobacter poisoning your own kitchen and digestive tract will make you forever suffer from severe and life-threatening food poisoning, painful cramps, and unending hydration loss. Part 8. The rabies roulette. Without discussing the absolute worst biological wildcard, rabies, we can't discuss eating feral dogs and cats. One of the main vectors of the rabies virus is feral dogs throughout the world. The meat would be cooked to a safe temperature if cooked at the correct temperature, but the problem is in the preparation. The infected saliva or nervous system tissue simply needs to penetrate a small cut on the finger or accidentally get into the eye if the animals are handled regularly, skinned, and butchered. If the rabies virus is allowed to enter the nervous system, it is a death sentence, and death by the virus is 99.9% certain. Every time you prepare a meal, you are playing Russian roulette with one of the most dreadful, incurable viruses in human medicine. Part 9. The vitamin A time bomb. The vitamin A time bomb. Let's assume you cook the meat to perfection, escape all the parasites, and bypass all the bacteria. If you do, you will still walk straight into a huge chemical trap. A carnivore's liver stores gigantic amounts of vitamin A. Vitamin A is a very important nutrient, but the human body can't process a level of vitamin A that is so concentrated in the livers of carnivores. This was famously found out when early explorers to the Arctic perished after consuming the livers of their sled dogs. You're essentially dropping a chemical bomb of pure, toxic vitamin A right in your stomach. Part 10. The peeling skin nightmare. After that giant amount of vitamin A enters your bloodstream, you will fall into an awful medical condition called acute hypervitaminosis A. This list of symptoms sound like something from a medieval torture manual. You'll get a stabbing, intense headache as the pressure in your skull suddenly rises. Nausea is the worst, and vomiting is violent. The most frightening symptom is what happens to your body's largest organ. However, the strong toxicity quickly dissolves the structure of your cells, and the outer layer of your skin starts to literally peel and drop in large, painful layers from your body. Your hair will fall out in clumps. The bones will ache with a deep, throbbing pain. Part 11. The kidney collapse. Even if you strictly avoid the toxic liver and only eat the lean meat of the cats and dogs, your body still will have a fit. Carnivore meat is remarkably tough, dense, and has a very high concentration of nitrogen-rich proteins. The human digestive system depends on the proper balance of fats, protein, and carbohydrates. The overload of predator protein that is so concentrated and so lean makes your bloodstream ricocheting with ammonia and urea. Your kidneys will have to work 3 times as hard just to keep your blood from becoming poisoned with toxins, and eventually you will suffer from a painful condition known as rabbit starvation or protein poisoning, in which your body will literally starve to death, even though you are eating full meals. Part 12. The scurvy paradox. The next silent killer to enter your body, as your kidneys are being taxed to the limit with all the heavy protein, is scurvy. Unlike humans, cats and dogs do not require vitamin C in their diet, as they can make it themselves. Due to this, their muscle tissue actually has almost no amount of usable vitamin C for a human. The cooking process kills whatever is left of the vitamins in the meat. If you cook it and then eat it all, you won't be getting any. Your gums will start to bleed in about a month or 2, your teeth will become loose and fall out, and your old scars will literally open up, as the collagen in your body has been dissolved. Part 13. The prion possibility. There is also a very disturbing possibility when it comes to scavenge-related neurological risk in eating animals that are known to scavenge. Feral dogs and cats are opportunistic feeders and are at frequent risk of infecting other animals with prion diseases, since they will eat anything to survive and include the nervous tissue of other animals that have died and are infected. Terrible, misfolded proteins that are totally resistant to cooking at high temperatures, freezing, and even chemical disinfection are known as prion. A human eating meat that's infected with the prion will gradually and silently convert his or her own brain into a moribund, ruined brain, and before destroying the body, the brain will destroy itself. Part 14. The psychological attrition. There is a huge, crushing physical destruction taking place on your organs, but there is also a tremendous psychological attrition. Humans and dogs and cats have literally evolved together for tens of thousands of years. Our brains are developed to see their faces, understand their feelings, and empathize with them. If you want to break that deep programming that has been in your evolutionary system and have to keep slaughtering and eating them, you need to completely turn off your human system. The cognitive conflict and the solitary confinement and the physical sickness would do the rest, and in short order, you'd be totally mentally broken, deeply traumatized. Part 15. The final evolutionary verdict is that the human body is a miraculous machine, one that is very adaptable, but with firm, hard biology limits. We developed to feed on plants, fruits, and tame herbivores. We are not designed to be the ultimate predators and eat predators that are highly efficient and full of parasites and toxins. It is not only a cultural taboo, but a biological dead end as well. Your kidneys will break down, your brain will be overrun by parasites, your skin will start to shed due to high levels of vitamins, and your humanity will be ripped away. Do leave the pets where they belong by the fireplace, and thank you so much for a regular, mundane food store.